Now, some of you, as I go through some of these principles, are going to say, that doesn't apply to me. I don't want to do that. That's not necessary. You can tell yourself any story you want. However, what it is that we're about to show you works. It's up to you whether or not you're going to put it into action. One of the questions that we always ask in our coaching sessions and at seminars like this is, well, how's what you're doing right now working for you? If it's working well for you, fantastic. Let's see if we can improve on that a little bit. If what you're doing right now isn't working to the degree that you want it to, what should you do? Change. Now, change isn't the easiest thing in the world, is it? It's about as easy as we make up our minds that it's going to be, though, right? We can either accept it and move into it very quickly, or we can take months or years to change. The choice is ours. What I found is that the most successful people in the world, not only in our industry, but in the world, adapt to change the fastest. So the quicker that you can make the changes necessary that you either intuitively know or that your numbers indicate that you must make, the more successful you become faster, okay? Now, you do have an outline. It's in the left-hand side of your packet. There are 2 pieces of paper that say 5 steps to guaranteed success in 2010, okay? There's 2 pages, and it might be maybe 4 or 5 pages down on the left side of your packet. Step 1, take 100% responsibility for where you are right now. This is a very challenging one. Because sometimes if we're not doing as well as we know we have the capability of doing, or we feel like we're not fulfilling our potential, our first natural instinct is to do what? Blame somebody else, right? There you go. It's the market. It's my manager. It's my company. It's my wife or my husband or my significant other. It's them. It can't be me. Very successful people take 100% responsibility for where they are, because at some level they fully understand where we are is really our choice. We've made a choice or a series of choices that put us where we are right now. So we've got to take responsibility for that, okay? Be clear why you are where you are right now. Now again, the flip side to this from a positive perspective is there are a lot of people who are happy where they are right now. Fantastic. Your choices helped you get there too. What are some of the choices that you've made to help you get to where you are right now? And how can you build on those to continue to fulfill your potential, right? Next is decide what you want. Now, those of you who have been in our formal coaching programs and have written out promises, in a sense, you've decided what you want, right? Most people never get beyond this step. Why don't people decide what they want? Either they don't know or keep going. They don't want, they know it's going to take a commitment, right? Keep going.
It's too much work to think it through.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's just going to be work to decide, right? Keep going.
They don't want to fail.
They don't want to fail. Very good. Keep going. There's one more that's very subtle but very important to talk about.
Fear of success.
It's, sometimes it's, do I deserve to be successful? Okay. Keep going.
Life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way. Ego gets in the way. I might feel guilty if I become more successful, because that might change my relationship with the other people around me. Okay? Does everyone get that? Unconsciously, that's kind of at work in our minds, and we have to be very aware of that. If we find like we're bumping up against the same barrier over and over and over again in a certain aspect of our lives, a lot of times it's because, well, if I move beyond this, this might change my relationship with whomever. Okay, you can fill in the blank there. So deciding what you want for some people is difficult because they have a feeling that it's going to change their relationships or put them in a different position than they are right now. But on the flip side, that's called what? Growth. There you go. Very good. Next, be willing to pay the price. So sometimes people will get to the point where they take responsibility for where they are right now. They decide what they want, and then they say, well, I'm really not so sure I am willing to do what's necessary to really carry this out. So for me, about a year ago, right, this was in Fort Myers, I had this public promise I made about weight reduction and working out and all this other stuff, right? Remember? I had to decide, was I willing to pay the price to make that happen? The price was going to the gym 5 days a week and changing my eating habits. That was the price that I had to be willing to pay. For me, it was important enough to pay the price to make that happen. Now, here's the great thing about that. That sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Here's the great thing about this, about any change that we're about to make, if we're going to make it. They're all very simple. They're not very complicated things. They're very simple things. I'm not saying they're easy, but they're simple. That's the great thing about the business that we're in. We know that if we do 3 or 4 or 5 things on a consistent basis every single day, we're going to be very, very successful. But we have to be willing to pay the price. Okay, in the real estate business, there's really only 2 or 3 prices we have to pay. What are they? Lead generation on a consistent basis, right? What else?
Follow.
Lead follow-up. What else?
Conversion.
Well, lead conversion, right? Closing transactions. Okay, we're servicing our referrals, past clients, COIs, right? Managing our time is by far the biggest price, quote unquote, we have to pay in the real estate business. And I'm going to hammer you today and tomorrow on no independent contractors allowed. Legally, we may be independent contractors. If we think and act like independent contractors, we will go out of business. That is the #1 killer in the real estate business today, is people thinking and acting like independent contractors rather than thinking and acting like the presidents of their own companies. If you have to pay any price to be successful in this business, that's the one you have to pay. But what does that connotate? What does that mean if I'm the president of my own business? What do I have to now do? I have to work, right? I have to keep a schedule. I have to manage myself. And I have to achieve results. That's what it means. Okay? Now, we're going to cover the freedom and flexibility thing in a moment, because everyone tells us we're in this business for freedom and flexibility, all right? So remember.